falling in faith. You may have seen in my bio online that I'm a master business coach. And as a master business coach, I primarily choose to work with women, and showing up is definitely one of the topics that we discuss. My goal in working with women is to get them to embrace their truth. And in embracing their truth, helping them and creating strategies and helping them show up first for themselves with no apologies. Then for their families, for their jobs, for their communities, and for their businesses. You can imagine if I'm teaching other women how to show up, I believed that I was a master of my own. February 2nd, 2018, on the other side of an early morning phone call, all things I believed I had mastered were now taking a nosedive in an abyss that closely resembled a mangled mess of madness. We got the phone call that no parent ever wants to receive. There we were in Atlanta, Georgia, visiting our youngest daughter, jolted out of bed because I saw on the caller ID, Smash was calling. There we were expecting our daughter to answer, and we were listening to an unfamiliar voice, a nervous voice, a crying voice, finally being able to utter the words to let us know that our daughter had passed away. Immediately, my body hit the ground. But before I could physically hit the ground, I find myself in my husband's arms. I was watching my daughter as I watched my youngest daughter, and she was just sliding down the wall. And she was screaming, "No, no, no." That day was a frenzy. Uncontrollable feelings, horribly invasive thoughts and emotions. Phone calls, text messages, emails, social media inbox messages. Everybody that the coach had coached was now checking on me. I accept only one phone call that day. It was from my sister-in-law, Joanne. Joanne was a mom, and she had lost 2 children. I knew Joanne would know exactly what I was going through. She started off the conversation and she said to me, "I'm sorry. You are now the member of a club that no mother wants to ever be a member of." She went on to tell me, "You're going to be angry. You're going to be angry at God. You're going to be angry at your husband. You're going to be angry at yourself. You're going to be sad, confused, frustrated, and back to angry again." As the days passed and the realization set into my mind that our daughter was dead, I was still running in my heart. But I also found myself wrestling with now some of the same questions that my clients wrestle with. How do I show up? And I was thinking to myself, how do I show up in those mom conversations when somebody says, "Oh, how many children do you have?" How do I show up and answer, "Oh, I'm so sorry," when someone discovers that I lost a child? The more pressing question for me, the master business coach, right, was how do I show up when all I wanted to do was run back in time, land in a space where I didn't have to show up, being the mother who's had to bury her own child. There were 3 things that were constantly coming back in my mind. 3 words: faith, fall, free. One of the things that I had to do first is I had to keep having faith. A lot of times we believe in God for the good stuff, but I had to stay holding on to God's unchanging hand. I had to remember the promise that joy comes in the morning. And I had to believe there would be joy on the other side of this unimaginable hurt and pain. And I had to embrace wanting that joy, guilt-free. I had to give myself permission to fall. Not fall down, but just to fall into the pain. I had to stop running away from the realization that now my daughter was no longer with us. How many of you women consider yourself to be a strong woman? I'm a strong woman. I come from a long legacy of strong women. It's hard to be weak. But I had to own the fact that there was now a piece of me broken, and it was never, ever going to be repaired. And just because I was broken in this space, it did not take away from who I was as a mom, as a woman. It did not diminish my strength in any way. Another question: how many of you have children and you have ideals for your children's life? So did I. But I had to set her free. It was time. I knew I had to let Ashley go. I had to let go of what I wanted for my daughter. And I had to embrace the realization that Ashley fulfilled her life's purpose before mommy did. I had to show up, and I had to embrace being a woman, a mom who had to bury her child. Thank you.